Webinar is now live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's presentation. I am Dale with Realvolve. You might see a couple of the people on the screen with you. Those are folks from my team that are going to just be assisting with questions and the recording and some of the technical stuff. So I'm Dale Warner. I am the COO of Realvolve Firepoint, and you're here today because you want to learn more about workflows and automating things in your business. And I forgot, Val, you told me very specifically to start with my intro slides on the screen, and I didn't do that. Share my screen real quick. Better late than never. So welcome to Introduction to Workflows. So we're going to be talking today about how workflows are game changers. They're revolutionary in the CRM industry. And really, we work with a lot of other tech companies. And when we show them what we have here in Realvolve, people are just blown away. When I first started up, when we launched Realvolve and we're starting to gain some traction, I presented the workflow platform to some veterans in the real estate technology space. One of them wrote a real estate technology blog that was extremely popular. And so all he did all day long was evaluate real estate tech. And I thought it was pretty cool. And when I saw what my good friend's reaction was, I knew we were onto something here. So we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of how workflows can operate within your business, how it ties in with our CRM, and how it can save you time and money and make you more efficient and more effective. And that's the key for us. Is it's not just about efficiency, it's also about being effective in your business as well. And so I'll get into that a little bit later. So I want to talk really quickly about how difficult it is to change behavior. Behavior is something that, I guess, delayed gratification is something that all human beings struggle with. Some of us are pretty good at it, but it's always a struggle. And we have to build things into our day and our life that make sure that we can, our body and our brain will do the things that our mind has already made up to do. And that's a really difficult thing, especially when you consider a lot of us are not good at, for example, meal planning. So let's just think about weight loss and meal planning for just a second to help us understand the concept of workflows. If we say we're going to lose weight and we're relying solely on our willpower, we all know that we fall into traps, especially if we're out driving, we're really, really hungry, and we drive past our favorite fast food restaurant. It's extremely difficult to pass that thing by, to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to get home and I'm going to make myself a healthy snack. That's because leaving decisions to the last minute creates a decision point or a potential failure point when you are at your weakest. And so what we want to do in life is build in habits and build in decisions ahead of time that make the decisions easy to make in the moment. We're taking away that weak point in our decision making and building a strong foundation before we even get into it. So consider the difference in driving past a fast food place with an empty stomach versus driving past a fast food place when you already have your snack with you in your lunch bag, or you already ate a healthy lunch or a healthy snack before you left. If you plan ahead, it makes things easier and you're able to make the right decisions. The other thing to note is when we actually track things like our calories or our habits, it's amazing what we'll find in the truth. So a lot of us have this blindness to our actual performance against a goal. If we're not tracking it, if we're not writing it down, if we're not really meticulous about what we want to accomplish in our life and in our business, we're a little bit blind. And I can tell you, we have seen this day in and day out with a lot of real estate teams that come into our business, and we look at how well they're actually doing at staying in touch with people, and they overestimate how well they do at staying in touch. So the problem is not just that we're getting distracted from our work. It's that we're getting distracted from our work with other important work. And that's a really key point as well. So it's not just that we're not eating the food, it's that we're replacing it with other food that's not quite as good. So let's talk a little bit about workflows. Now, the concept of workflows is difficult for some people to understand. And so I like to explain it this way. We liken our workflows to this Caterpillar toy. I bought this toy for my kids several years ago at Christmas time. The concept is that each segment does a different action. The kids can plug it together, and it makes the caterpillar go straight, turn right, blink the lights, whatever. And so that's just a coding process. It's an engineered process. And workflows are an engineered process, but because we've just boiled it down to these simple segments, it's easy to understand. It's already configured for real estate, and it makes it really efficient for us to build and run. So what should you automate in your business? What kinds of things can we automate with workflows? So there are a lot of different things that you can automate in your business. Some of the main things that people automate are around key dates, around deadlines, around drip campaigns for marketing. It runs the gamut. And so I like to think about it in segments. If you have 3 segments of your business, and there's more than that, but I'm simplifying. The 3 main segments that I like to think about are leads and prospects. So that's the top of the funnel. Then when you get clients, you're doing the customer service, the client success on those clients. That's the listings and the buyers that you're working with. And then past client follow-up. Workflows cover all those stages, all 3 stages of that customer lifecycle. There's a lot of competition out there in the real estate industry that focuses on leads. Now, we cover leads, but that is not the main focus. You'll find a lot of automated systems are really just glorified lead managers. We're a workflow platform that covers the gamut. And workflows are all about delegating. So it helps you not only delegate things to people on your team, but it delegates tasks to your computer so that, again, there's an objective third party that doesn't have any blindness to the behavior. So the software never gets tired. The software is never feeling weak or has low willpower. It will make sure things happen very consistently every single time. And then how can I organize my tasks so that nothing gets missed? Again, workflows are the best way to do that, in our opinion. A lot of people rely on paper checklists or a whiteboard or something like that. Some people juggle things in their head. With workflows, you can put those all down on paper. Put those all down in the system, and things will happen consistently. You can coordinate with other people on your team, and if deadlines and dates change, you can adjust your deadlines and dates. So let me just show you a couple of examples of workflows here. Let's see. So the building blocks of workflows are really tasks, phone calls, documents, the dates, and the people involved with a transaction or a listing or a campaign. And so you can mix and match all of these things and put them in the order that you want to put them in. Now, a typical automated system has a very linear structure, and it's very point A to point B, start to finish kind of structured. To say that another way, there are a lot of systems that have action plans or campaigns, and you build the automation off of a start date or off of an end date. And that's pretty much all the control you have on the timelines. So it has to start with a start date, and then you can delay 2 days and then delay 2 days. Those delays are all built on the start date. And that's it. Or there's a few systems in real estate that allow you to do both, build off the start date and build off of an end date. Now, with Realvolve, we take that linear structure and really break it out into a workflow chart that matches reality. So there is no such thing as taking a lead building off of a start date and taking them all the way through the listing process, all the way to close, and then all the way to past clients. So what we do is we take isolated workflows and we put them together. So you might have, let's just say, 3 workflows. Your lead workflow that includes a listing appointment follow-up process. You have your active listing process, pre-listing, active listing, and then maybe even any price changes or anything you need to do. They're in that center section. And then the end would be past client follow-up. So we're closing the loop and making sure that it's a more of a 4-dimensional, including the time element of the workflow process. And so as you can see on the screen here, you might start with a listing appointment, but what happens if they are not decisive or you don't get the listing appointment? Well, you want to stay in touch and maybe pick up when the listing expires because you know the price or the value that the other agent is just unreasonable. So in Realvolve, you can do that all within one workflow. You can take a listing appointment. If you get it, it goes down one track. If you don't get it, it goes down another track. And so in that way, with minimal inputs from you, the workflow stays on track with what's actually happening in reality. And that is the big key. So 1 second here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So I'm going to show you an example of one of my favorite, one of my favorite little workflow examples here. So I told you a minute ago that we build the workflows off of all of these different components, the dates, the people that you're working with, all of those kind of things. And so what we do in Realvolve, and now I'll just show you a transaction workflow sample. Again, these can be campaigns for lead conversion, can be listings, transactions, or it can be past client follow-up. People do client appreciation events. There's all kinds of things you can do with the workflows. So I'm going to take a number of people and put them together in a party. We call them the party of people involved in the transaction. And so I go to the People tab here in Realvolve. So I'm looking at a transaction. I'm on the People tab. At this point, let's just say I'm representing the buyer. We made an offer. It was accepted. So one of the things that I need to do is schedule a home inspection. So I'm going to drag and drop the home inspector from the left column right there in the home inspector slot. And then I'm going to set the home inspection date and time. And now I'm pretty much done with my inputs for a little bit. So what Realvolve does at that point is confirms the appointment with everybody involved. And there might be up to 6 people in the party at this point. It could be me and my assistant. It could be the inspector, the buyer and their spouse, and the agent on the other end of the transaction. So all 6 of us are going to get a notification saying that the home inspection has been scheduled. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, my home inspector does all of this for me. Great. Just keep in mind, this applies to any date with any contractor or any other person you're working with in transactions or listings. And so it confirms the appointment. The next step, let's just say 24 hours before the appointment, Realvolve is going to automatically remind everybody, and it dynamically inserts information, so you don't have to write the email. It will put the right address, it will put the right date and time, and it will address it to all the right people. Then what would happen is the day and time of the inspection comes and goes. And what would happen after that is Realvolve might remind me, let's say 24 hours later, to double check, or 48 hours later, double check if I got the home inspection report back from the inspector. And at that point, I have an option to click a box, yes or no. And so if I click the box, yes, I got the inspection back, Realvolve would move on with the next step in the process. If I clicked the box, no, I don't, it will remind me every 24 hours. So I have these branches. Those are my options at that point. But remember, I'm not getting off track. I'm still on the inspection process. And it makes sure, Realvolve is going to make sure that that loop is all closed and I can go on to the next thing. And so once I get the inspection report back, for example, Realvolve would remind me to double check any due diligence or anything else that needs to happen around that transaction or that listing. So I'm sorry, my PowerPoint just crashed, and I was having a little bit of issue right before. I'll try to resolve it. Let me see if I can get this back. Any questions while I'm pulling that up? Let's see.
Dale, we have a question.
So far, we
have a question from Karen saying, how do you get reminded, or how are your clients reminded? Is it just email?
Email, text message, or Realvolve puts it, so for your team, Realvolve puts it on your calendar and we sync to Google Calendar. So you'll see the calendar reminder on your phone, but you can also schedule out as many or as few reminders as you want to go out via text message and or email. So a lot of people do text message reminders to themselves and their clients, and then for other people that they're working with, they'll use emails. And Realvolve's smart enough to know how you want that to behave. So we have out-of-the-box kind of reminders that you can use. You just install them in your Realvolve account and you can use them. But you can also edit those. So you can tweak them a little bit and make them your own, because everybody's, the personality of everybody and everybody's team is a little bit different, and Realvolve accounts for all of that. Any other questions?
There's a question from Sean saying, is this automation workflow included in the regular subscription?
Yes. So that is, so Realvolve is a CRM and a workflow platform. The workflow platform, as well as dozens, if not hundreds of workflows, come included in your account. And so they can automate, like I said, anything from campaigns, transactions, listing process. We call it transaction and listing coordination, or the past client follow-up. But there's people that do client appreciation events. They'll automate some of their pop by reminders and things like that. So we have some really cool automations in our workflow library available for purchase that are really creative to get the creative juices flowing for you and your team. But dozens, if not hundreds, of free workflows that are proven, tested. So we have, it's kind of a crowdsourced library that a lot of people have contributed to over the years. And then in our Facebook community, we have lots of people contributing as well, ideas all the time. So there's other things you can automate with workflows that I didn't talk about that are pretty detailed. And I didn't go into them, but since I can't get my slides to work right now, I'll just go into one more example. So, Daryl Catmull is one of our customers, a longtime customer of ours, big fan of what we're doing with the workflows. And he is kind of one of those real estate technology geeks. So he runs a real estate team in Utah, but also likes to play around with the technology to be more efficient. And one of the things that he's gotten really good at and shared a lot in our Facebook community is how to automate updates to your sellers. And so he's got, there's little forms built into Realvolve. If he does a marketing activity, shows the house, open house, anything that goes on with the property, he puts a little note in the seller notes. And then every week, Realvolve automatically sends all of the new notes on Monday morning so that the sellers are always getting updated after the weekend on everything that Daryl and his team have done for them. And so he can create a raving fan by simply elevating his level of communication, simply adding a couple of notes here and there, then Realvolve automatically sends that email off once a week. There's little things like that that are great. Let's see. I might just have to go into my Realvolve account and show you a couple other things.
Jen is asking, when you get a reminder from a workflow, can you click yes that you got the inspection report without logging in to your account?
No, so you'd have to log in to do that. So anything with the workflows, you have to log in to see. So if it's a task or something like that, you would want to go in and check the box to make sure that Realvolve knows what's going on there. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of really cool things about our contact cross section. I'm just logging into my account here. The contact cross section actually automates some of the stages of your customer lifecycle. So I talked about leads, transactions, listings, and then past clients. So how do we make sure that no leads ever fall through the cracks with Realvolve? All right. So first, want to point your attention, to this is our dashboard here at the top. We've got lots of cool charts and graphs about your year-to-date sales volume and all that kind of cool stuff. And then all of our notes and correspondence are going to show here. So there's going to be some things being put on contact records from workflows, other things that your team is leaving. If you've called somebody, if you emailed them, that'll all show up here. We even have call records because I use the dialer built into Realvolve to make this call. And so that call will show up on Harriet homeowner's contact record here. So I can click into Harriet and review any other notes, correspondence, or any other tasks that need to happen with this contact. So if there's tasks, they're going to show up in the right-hand column here, or I can see a full view list of activities for this client. I have nothing that's waiting to be completed here. If I go back to the dashboard, one thing I wanted to point your attention to is this 2-column layout here. So I have my list view where it shows my list of contact correspondence here, and then I have my tasks on the right, and then we have all of my contacts, all the contacts, my properties, my transactions, documents, tags, and tasks. So this is really cool because I can see what's going on with my team's tasks as well. I can click here and choose anybody on the team, and it filters the task list by just those team members. So my default view is just my tasks that are either due today or past due, but I can filter any which way I want. I can change the due dates and say I want to see everything that's due the rest of the month. I can look at only me. And then if I had a bunch of activities, let's say I had 15 things I needed to get done, I can click the number and it shows up in a list. And the best part about this is that I can then start checking off my tasks as I go. Now, this is send a birthday text. This could be completely automated, or I can tell Realvolve I want to write those texts every day. So remind me to write them, and then I could edit them before they go out and add a little personal note. But I could go through 15 texts in about 30 seconds and add a little, quick little note. Or I can just run the birthday text as is, and out and away it goes. Again, my third option would be to just automate it 100% so that everybody in my database gets a text message on their birthday, or an email, or a bomb. All of that can be automated. The other thing I can do is automation around anniversaries. So home purchase anniversary dates and relationship anniversaries can be automated as well through workflows. So it makes it really easy to go through and just automate everything in my database really quickly, all those follow-ups. What other questions do we have?
Lots of questions about how do you add a workflow. Can you go in and set up one?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. So let me just show you how to launch a workflow real quick. So I'm going to go to, this would be maybe one of my listings. So I have this listing at 123 Main Street. All I have in here is the address and the date that I listed this property. So let's just change it to today for fun. That's all I really need to get started. So I have address and the date that I'm listing it. Now I can go to start a workflow. I have a list of all of my different workflows, and let's just say, let's go to pre-list for fun. So I can go to pre-listing. For example, here's one of my workflows for pre-listing. I launch the workflow. I can review all of the tasks involved. Now, if this is an HOA property, for example, I have HOA tasks. If it's a referral, I have the agent referral stuff built into this automation, so I don't forget to do all of that stuff. But let's just say it wasn't a referral and it wasn't HOA. I uncheck those boxes, and it actually removes some of those tasks. So they're just gone. I don't have to worry about them. I don't have to skip them. They're out of the picture now. Next thing I'm going to see is who's the listing coordinator and the transaction coordinator for this. I'm going to keep it as myself for now, but I could select my people on my team for that. And then I have a chance to review all the dates involved. And so all of the milestones here are the date that I put it in the MLS, the start date, the staging date, photography date, MLS target date, and listing agreement sign date. All of these other things are built off of other dates. So all of these other actions are built off of those milestones that I just read. They calculate 2 days before, 1 day before, 5 days after. So they're all built around these milestones, and then you can get that full picture of the of those flowcharts. If I hit next now, it's going to launch the workflow, and it'll assign all of the tasks. Again, here's the party of people. I forgot this step. Party of people. I can start plugging them in now, or I can do that later. So I'm just going to hit done and launch the workflow, so you can see these activities building up on my list. Once those activities load, sometimes it takes a couple of moments depending on how large the workflow is. So here's all my tasks now. And then again, I can filter this by completed versus incomplete. I haven't done anything yet. They're all color coordinated. They're assigned to the right people. They're assigned at the right date. I have a calendar now specifically for this listing. So at any point I'm talking to them, I can show them all of the dates and the timeline of everything that's going to happen. And as I fill out some of those other dates along the way here under the listing tab, I have detailed information about the listing itself, and then I have these important dates. And I can choose what shows up in this list. So if I don't do virtual tours, I'm going to take that out and it'll never show up ever again. But once I plug in a couple of these dates, now I have a calendar specifically for this client that I can view at any time. That rolls up to my main calendar that shows everything that I have on my task list this month. And then I can also view team members' calendars as well. So I can select the correct filter view that I want to see. I can also choose which of those tasks syncs over. So the concept is I set the workflow up once, and when I feel like it's 80% perfect, I start using the workflow with my clients. And as I go, I can then update some of these things and make sure that I'm continuing to refine and make it perfect for how I like to run my business. What other questions?
Oh, lots of them. We should also just remind people we are recording this. You will get a copy of this as well as any slides that Dale showed. Lots of questions around pre-designed workflows, or did you create them? Could you just clarify that workflows are available and how they get them? What comes standard?
Yep. So you'll see here's the list of all of our workflows, alphabetical. And a lot of these are, so this one, for example, right here, let me find a good example. Here's a listing workflow. It's one workflow with 2 email templates, signed listing agreement up until the offer comes in. You can just click install and put that in your account. Here's an open house follow-up workflow. Follow-up to open house, invitation to receive monthly housing report. Here's, let's see, the essential workflow suite. This has 6 different workflows, 58 templates. So it's a buyer lead, seller lead, active buyer, pre-MLS, transaction, which is contract to close, and then contact nurture, which is a long-term follow-up after close. And so there's information on our website about this workflow. I can install, and it'll install these 6 workflows with these 58 templates. So there's others that are available for purchase, but tons of free. So anything that says public is free, and the premium ones are paid. So once I click install, those workflows are then going to show up in my workflow list here on the left. And I can filter. I can say I just want to see only my property workflows. So you can see I have this pre-MLS workflow. And there's 23 activities here, including to-dos and emails, the dates,
and
who it's assigned to.
And no, Dale, right? I can click on any one of those steps and I can customize it. When it
That's right.
happens,
You can customize
yeah.
the emails, the text messages, all of that stuff. So most people that are using workflows are customizing them periodically. So it might be once a month you're going to go in and clean something up. There's a lot of our clients that have this mantra that says if I do it twice, it needs to be workflowed. So workflow it, Realvolve it.
So where should people get started? I know we have lots and lots of questions in here on specific steps, like how do I do this within Realvolve and how do I do this? Where can they go to get answers to those? Where's some of the resources available?
Well, first place I would go is, let me just go back to my PowerPoint. I got it to work again. So first place I would go is realvolve.com/demo. So Realvolve's not a perfect fit for everybody. Our workflows are extremely powerful. And the best way to find out if it's going to be a good fit for you and your business is hop on the phone with us for a few minutes. We can have a really tailored conversation about your team size, how many leads you have, how many active listings and transactions. Do you work with an in-house listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, or do you work with outside parties? All of that plays into how we configure Realvolve. And we can be as involved or as hands-off as you want us to be. Our specialty is that we have a whole team of transaction coordinators that we have recruited over the last 3 years to be building and teaching all about our workflows, as well as customizing them for teams that join Realvolve. So we can tailor this to your team along with you or for you if that's something that you're interested in. We can get it off the ground pretty quickly. So yeah, go to realvolve.com/demo and let's just have a quick chat about what you're doing, what you're up to, and maybe how we can help.
Perfect. And do we have a free trial? Yes, we do.
Yeah, so the free trial is accessible just right from the homepage. You go to realvolve.com, you'll see a couple of buttons, one at the very top of the page. You just click that, start a free trial. No credit card required. It's a 2-week free trial. When you do that, you're going to get some training resources and all kinds of follow-up from us on how to start using workflows. We also have a very robust training library that you can do at your own pace. We've got blog articles and videos, as well as actual courses that you can go through if that's more your speed. So you can complete the courses, complete with assignments and all that kind of good stuff. And it's all free, included with your Realvolve account.
So realvolve.com/demo, best place to get started if you want to talk to a human being who can walk you through your specific questions. Also, encourage people to join our Facebook group, Realvolve Community. We do have office hours on Wednesdays where you can ask live questions and start a free trial. Anything else we want to leave them with today?
No, thanks for your time. I hope you're at least a little bit intrigued with workflows. They're really powerful. Once you get into them, you're going to be blown away by how much time you're going to save, how much smoother things can run, and really how much of your business is automatable. A lot of us don't understand just how much you can actually automate and how smart the automation has become over the last several years. So yeah, check us out. Go to realvolve.com/demo. We will see you then. Thanks for joining, everybody.